Hello Golden State Warriors fans. We are here once again to bring you the latest news related to our team, and I would like to emphasize how committed we are to improving our performance to achieve great results. Before we dive into this intriguing news, I kindly request you to show your support by clicking the like button, and if you are not yet subscribed to our channel, I invite you all to join us on an exciting journey. Remember to turn on notifications so you don't miss anything.
Warriors eyeing two NBA superstars ahead of trade deadline. The Golden State Warriors are once again setting their sights high, potentially targeting two of the biggest names in the NBA as the next trade deadline approaches. Last season, the Warriors made it clear they were hunting for star power. After an attempt to bring Kevin Durant back to the Bay fell through, Golden State shifted its focus to six-time All-Star Jimmy Butler. The result? A blockbuster trade that formed a new Big Three with Butler, Steph Curry, and Draymond Green, a trio that sparked real hope for another championship run. Unfortunately, that momentum came to a halt when Curry suffered a tough injury in the second round of the playoffs. Now, as the Warriors prepare for the 2025-26 season, the front office may be gearing up for another aggressive push, and they've got their eyes on even bigger names. Warriors' potential trade plans for 2026. After a rocky start to the 2024-25 season, the Warriors felt the heat to make a splash before the trade deadline. If the upcoming season kicks off with similar struggles, expect Golden State to get aggressive once again, especially if they believe they're just one move away from being true title contenders. According to Brett Siegel of Clutch Points, two names being floated as potential trade targets for the Warriors are none other than LeBron James and Giannis Antetokounmpo, arguably the two most powerful players in the league today. The key piece that could make this possible? Jonathan Kuminga. There's a growing belief that the Warriors might be willing to trade Kuminga once they re-sign him to a new tradable contract, Siegel reported. Getting Kuminga on a deal worth over $20 million annually gives Golden State a valuable asset to work with, opening up several trade options ahead of the deadline. Siegel added, Giannis Antetokounmpo and LeBron James are clearly dream targets for the Warriors, but they're not the only big names being discussed. And it makes sense. Golden State's front office has never shied away from pursuing stars, and pairing Curry with a generational talent like LeBron or Giannis would undoubtedly send shockwaves through the league. LeBron, currently with the Lakers, faces an uncertain future in Los Angeles, and a mid-season trade request during the 2025-26 campaign wouldn't come as a total shock. Should he hit the market, the Warriors would instantly be seen as a top destination. Meanwhile, Giannis' long-term commitment to Milwaukee has been questioned ever since their 2021 title. With minimal success since then, speculation around his future continues to grow. Either of these stars could form a championship-caliber duo alongside Curry, a pairing that would instantly catapult the Warriors back into the heart of title contention. One thing is clear, if Golden State decides to make a major move, the entire NBA will be watching. What a blockbuster trade would mean for Golden State. If the Warriors do pull off a move for LeBron James or Giannis Antetokounmpo, it would mark one of the most aggressive trade swings in franchise history, and potentially reshape the balance of power in the Western Conference. Pairing either superstar with Steph Curry would give Golden State one of the most dynamic duos in recent memory, combining elite scoring, leadership, and playoff experience. But there's a catch. Pulling off a trade of that magnitude wouldn't come without significant cost. The Warriors would likely need to part ways with a package that includes Jonathan Kuminga, multiple first-round picks, and possibly other young assets like Moses Moody or Brandon Podziemski, depending on the trade partner's demands. Financially, the Warriors are already deep into the luxury tax. Acquiring a max-level star like LeBron or Giannis would balloon their payroll further, potentially triggering repeater penalties. However, with Joe Lacob's ownership group known for prioritizing winning over budget constraints, it's not out of the question. Locker room dynamics and leadership. Beyond the numbers, there's also the question of chemistry. Draymond Green has a strong voice in the locker room, and adding another dominant personality like LeBron or Giannis could shift the team's internal dynamics. While Steph Curry has long been praised for his unselfish leadership and ability to coexist with other stars, fitting the puzzle pieces together mid-season, especially with the pressure of contending, would be a challenge for head coach Steve Kerr. Still, both LeBron and Giannis are known for their basketball IQ and professionalism, and in the right context, either could thrive in Golden State's system. LeBron's playmaking and versatility would complement Curry's off-ball movement, while Giannis would give the Warriors a dominant two-way presence they haven't had since their peak Kevin Durant years. What the league is saying. The mere rumor of Golden State chasing stars of this caliber has already begun to ripple through front offices across the league. Executives are watching closely, not only to see whether the Warriors will pull the trigger, but also to gauge how aggressively other teams may respond. The Western Conference remains crowded at the top, and one move could force contenders like the Nuggets, Suns, or Clippers to adjust their own strategies. From a league perspective, a trade of this magnitude would also raise questions about the balance of power and the ongoing concentration of talent among a few elite teams. Some have speculated that if LeBron were traded mid-season, it could usher in the final chapter of his storied career, possibly aligning him with Curry for one last championship push. For Giannis, a move would likely signal a fundamental breakdown in Milwaukee's title aspirations, and might spark broader changes across the Eastern Conference. Timeline and trade mechanics. As of now, no formal negotiations have been reported, and both the Lakers and Bucks have remained publicly committed to their respective superstars. However, league insiders suggest that much could change by January, particularly if either team falls out of playoff contention or if internal tensions rise. The Warriors' front office is expected to remain active and open-minded heading into the mid-season window. Their ability to re-sign Kuminga to a deal that both satisfies his development and positions him as a trade chip is being viewed as a strategic move, not necessarily to trade him immediately, but to keep the option open. In a league where timelines can shift quickly and momentum can turn overnight, Golden State's ambition is clear. They aren't content with fading quietly out of the championship picture. Whether that leads them to LeBron, Giannis, or another bold move entirely remains to be seen. What's certain is this: the Warriors are not done. And if history is any guide, the rest of the league should take notice. Jonathan Kuminga's agent breaks silence amid ongoing contract talks with Warriors. As training camp approaches, the Golden State Warriors are still working to finalize a new deal with restricted free agent Jonathan Kuminga, and after weeks of silence, his agent is finally opening up. Negotiations have been ongoing, with the Warriors reportedly offering a 3-year deal worth $75.2 million, including a team option in the third year. On paper, it's a significant raise and a strong show of commitment. But Kuminga and his camp have yet to sign, and are seriously considering a very different route, accepting the $7.9 million qualifying offer and hitting unrestricted free agency next summer. In a recent appearance on ESPN's The Hoop Collective, Kuminga's agent, Aaron Turner, shed light on where things stand, and why the qualifying offer is still on the table. Why the qualifying offer is still in play. Accepting the qualifying offer would mean turning down a much larger guaranteed payday. But there's a key difference. The qualifying offer comes with a no-trade clause and full control of Kuminga's future next summer, when he could choose his next destination freely. There's a lot of value in that, Turner explained, via ESPN's Anthony Slater. He wants to choose where he wants to go. So yes, the qualifying offer is 100% real. That possibility has the Warriors concerned. If Kuminga accepts the qualifying offer, Golden State loses the ability to trade him during the season, and could ultimately watch him walk away next summer with no return. Team option versus player option, the sticking point. One of the major hurdles in negotiations isn't just money, it's control. The Warriors' current offer includes a team option in the third year, giving the franchise the flexibility to retain or part ways with Kuminga based on performance. Kuminga, however, wants the power to make that decision himself, a player option. If the Warriors are serious about winning now, if they want a happy, committed player who feels respected and valued, then you give him the player option, Turner said. Sure, it slightly reduces his trade value, but if this is about the present and helping Steph Curry compete, this is the way to go. He added, it's not a perfect deal for either side, but it can be a fair one. Kuminga wants to feel like he's part of this team's future, not just a trade chip. The reality: no one gets everything. Turner also acknowledged the challenges of negotiations, and the reality that compromises will be needed on both sides. Look, if you ask JK, he wants the Jalen Green deal. He's not getting that, Turner said. He wants the Jalen Johnson deal. That's probably not happening either. Kuminga is looking for more than just a big paycheck. He's seeking long-term stability, a defined role, and the opportunity to grow into the star he believes he can be, something he struggled to fully achieve in Golden State's crowded rotation. Interest from other teams. This is exactly why teams like the Sacramento Kings and Phoenix Suns have reportedly shown interest. They see a player with untapped potential, hungry for a larger role, and willing to bet on himself. In the right system, Kuminga could break out in a way that simply hasn't happened yet in Golden State. The Warriors, meanwhile, are trying to walk a fine line, keeping a promising young talent while navigating financial constraints and immediate championship pressure. What's next? As it stands, both sides are still talking, and optimism remains that a deal can be reached. But the clock is ticking. If no agreement is found before the season begins, Kuminga may bet on himself, setting up a high-stakes year for both the player and the franchise. Whether Golden State is willing to loosen its grip on control in exchange for keeping a rising star happy could define not only Kuminga's future, but the future of the Warriors themselves. A test of patience and philosophy for Golden State. The standoff with Kuminga is testing more than just the Warriors' negotiating skills. It's exposing a deeper philosophical question. Can Golden State balance its win-now championship window with the long-term development of its young talent? Kuminga, the 21-year-old forward drafted 7th overall in 2021, has shown flashes of elite two-way potential. His athleticism, defensive versatility, and ability to create off the dribble have made him one of the league's most intriguing young prospects. But he's also been caught in a system designed around veteran stars, and the result has been an inconsistent role, limited touches, and occasional stretches of disengagement. Internally, the Warriors know what's at stake. Letting Kuminga walk, or forcing him into a deal that leaves him feeling undervalued, risks repeating a pattern that's already cost them other young talent. James Wiseman, another high pick from the same developmental arc, was traded mid-season last year after a failed attempt to integrate him into a veteran core. The front office can't afford to mishandle another key piece. The locker room factor. Multiple sources have suggested that Kuminga's standing in the locker room is strong. He's respected for his work ethic and competitiveness, and Curry, in particular, has spoken highly of his growth. But the uncertainty surrounding his contract and role could become a distraction, especially as the Warriors attempt to rebound from an underwhelming 2024-25 campaign. There's also concern that this situation could send a message to other young players in the organization, that development will always take a backseat to short-term goals. That's a tough sell for any franchise trying to remain competitive over the long haul. Around the league, quiet eyes watching. Across the NBA, executives are watching the Kuminga negotiations carefully. Several teams, including the Kings, Suns, Magic, and even the Spurs, have reportedly kept tabs on the situation, waiting to see whether Golden State's front office will blink first. If Kuminga ends up taking the qualifying offer and enters unrestricted free agency in 2026, he would become one of the most sought-after young forwards on the market. Teams with cap space will be lining up, not only for his talent, but for the chance to offer him a bigger role and long-term commitment. On the flip side, if a sign-and-trade becomes a more likely scenario later in the season, the Warriors will be under pressure to ensure they don't lose a former top 10 pick for little or no return, something that could undermine both their asset management and their standing with player agents around the league. A decision with ripple effects. The longer this drags on, the more it risks becoming a story that defines the Warriors' season, especially if the team struggles early. With Steph Curry entering the final years of his prime and the Western Conference more competitive than ever, Golden State doesn't have the luxury of internal distractions. Kuminga, meanwhile, continues to train and prepare as if he'll be part of the Warriors' rotation on opening night. But behind the scenes, every day without a deal adds pressure. He knows this season is a pivotal moment in his career, a year that could either solidify his place in Golden State or mark the beginning of a new chapter elsewhere. For now, the two sides remain at a standstill, but resolution feels inevitable. Whether it comes in the form of a compromise contract, a surprise trade, or a gamble on free agency, one thing is clear: this isn't just a contract negotiation. It's a crossroads for both Jonathan Kuminga and the Golden State Warriors, and the choice they make could echo far beyond this season. Warriors urged to act as Jimmy Butler's chemistry warning raises red flags. The Golden State Warriors may soon find themselves in a far more complex situation than just finalizing Jonathan Kuminga's extension. While negotiations with the rising star have already stalled progress this offseason, a new and potentially disruptive variable has entered the equation: Jimmy Butler. Kuminga contract standoff still unresolved. Kuminga recently turned down a 3-year, $75.2 million extension, citing concerns over the team-controlled third-year option. He is reportedly seeking a player option instead, aiming for greater flexibility and control over his future. The impasse has left Golden State's front office in limbo, limiting their ability to make significant roster moves with training camp fast approaching and a qualifying offer deadline looming on October 1st. But according to analyst David Jacoby, the organization may be facing an even bigger issue, one that doesn't just affect contract talks, but threatens the very chemistry of the locker room. Jimmy Butler's message raises alarm bells. Jacoby pointed to Butler's recent outreach to the Warriors front office, where he reportedly questioned the team's direction and lack of clarity heading into the new season. "There's a huge elephant in the room, and that elephant's name is Jimmy Butler," Jacoby said during a recent segment. Reports are coming out that Butler has been making calls like, "What the hell are we doing here, guys?" While Butler has remained outwardly optimistic, at least in public, about the roster and the team's championship potential, his behind-the-scenes concerns suggest that not all is well behind closed doors. A history that can't be ignored. Butler's track record when dealing with organizational frustration is well documented, and not in a way that breeds confidence. From clashes with teammates in Minnesota and Philadelphia to reported rifts in Miami, Butler has never been shy about voicing his displeasure. His past has included media outbursts, locker room tension, and situations where chemistry was severely compromised, often ending with trades or dramatic shifts in team dynamics. That history raises a legitimate question: is this just a warning shot, or the start of something more serious? When Jimmy Butler starts making those calls, you have to listen, Jacoby warned. No one, and I mean no one, knows how to tear down a team's chemistry faster than Butler when he feels things aren't being handled the right way. Contradictions and mixed signals in Golden State. Interestingly, Butler, along with Stephen Curry and Draymond Green, has reportedly expressed confidence in the Warriors' direction and their ability to contend next season. But the contrast between that public stance and his private frustrations is causing unease among league insiders. It suggests that beneath the surface, there may be unresolved tensions. And if the front office doesn't move quickly to address them, whether by resolving Kuminga's contract, making a decisive roster move, or offering clear communication to veterans, those tensions could boil over. Time is running out. The Warriors are entering a crucial stretch. The longer uncertainty lingers, especially with Kuminga and now Butler, the greater the risk that this offseason derails what should be a championship-caliber campaign. Golden State has always thrived on continuity, chemistry, and leadership. But in the current climate, even those pillars are beginning to wobble. Whether it's Jimmy Butler's cryptic phone calls or the contract dispute casting a shadow over the roster, one thing is clear. If the Warriors don't act, and act soon, they could find themselves facing more than just an unhappy star. They could be staring down the unraveling of their core identity. Growing concern inside the locker room. While Butler's comments haven't become public statements, the fact that he's made direct contact with Warriors leadership is being taken seriously within the organization. Multiple sources close to the team suggest that veterans, including Draymond Green, are aware of the situation and have begun to privately discuss how this uncertainty could affect team morale heading into camp. Golden State has long been praised for its stable culture and leadership core. But that cohesion depends on clarity, especially during transition periods. And right now, there are too many unanswered questions. What's most unsettling is not Butler's concern itself, but the timing of it. Veteran players reaching out to management before training camp, with pointed concerns, is rarely about just one issue. It's usually a signal that players feel momentum is slipping, and that the direction of the team lacks alignment. For a team with championship ambitions, that's a dangerous place to be. The Kuminga equation, a domino effect. Jonathan Kuminga's unresolved contract is no longer just a negotiation. It's become a symbol of the Warriors' wider dilemma, balancing their veteran core with their next generation of talent. Kuminga's breakout performance last season made it clear he's no longer a prospect. He's a key part of the rotation. But the standoff over his extension has dragged on, creating awkward tension within the team. Sources around the league believe the holdup is more philosophical than financial. Kuminga's camp reportedly wants guarantees that reflect his long-term value, not just a secure salary, but a role and commitment from the front office. The Warriors, still navigating a tricky salary cap situation and trying to remain competitive in a changing Western Conference, are cautious about committing too soon. But as one Western Conference executive put it, the longer you leave talented young guys in limbo, the more it affects buy-in, not just from them, but from the veterans watching it all play out. Internal politics, external pressure. What's becoming clear is that there are now two parallel tensions inside the Warriors organization. A contract dispute that's holding up roster progression, and a frustrated star who's testing the leadership's ability to manage expectations. And those tensions are beginning to merge. If Butler, a player known for holding both himself and others to the highest standard, starts to feel the franchise isn't moving decisively enough, It may not take long for his frustrations to spill over into the wider team environment. And while Curry and Green are still respected pillars of the locker room, there's only so much internal leadership can do when top players begin to question the front office's strategic direction. What comes next? Several scenarios are reportedly being discussed behind closed doors. Option 1. Restructure the Kuminga offer, providing a player option or incentives that satisfy both sides without compromising long-term flexibility. Option 2. Make a decisive roster move, such as bringing in a seasoned two-way contributor to address rotation depth and reframe the narrative heading into camp. Option 3. Delay resolution until the deadline, keeping all options open but risking further frustration from key voices inside the locker room. League insiders have noted that other teams are watching the situation closely. Kuminga would command significant interest on the market if Golden State considered a trade, but moving a 21-year-old on the rise would send a risky signal about the team's priorities. High stakes, limited time. With just a few weeks remaining before training camp begins, the Warriors have to make a decision, not just on Kuminga, but on the kind of identity they want to project this season. Will they double down on the core that brought them 4 titles? Or will they finally pass the torch to a younger generation with clear investment and direction? Either way, the time for indecision is running out. Because Jimmy Butler has made his stance clear. And when a player like him starts asking questions, the only thing more dangerous than giving the wrong answer is giving no answer at all.